lessen the aerodynamic effects, lessen the torque effect on the airframe, and of course very, very manoeuvrable, as you see here, a 52-foot span. It's a big aeroplane, but still very, very manoeuvrable.
It's one of the few fighters flown not through a stick, but through a wheel,
yes,
just like a transport airplane. And the P-38 here, well, was a legendary airplane if you name the pilots who flew it, and the list is almost endless. But there is one we can mention, if only. The pilot, by the way, of this P-38 is Raymond Riedman. And the story we're going to tell you shortly, remind you, is that one of the most gifted and one of the most successful writers of all time was a pilot. He was Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. He was French, and he wrote 5 or 6 books, but the most famous of these books is simply the world's most book in history, after what one may call the sacred books like the Bible, the Quran, or Das Kapital by Karl Marx. The best-selling fiction book in history is The Little Prince, Le Petit Prince en français. It's been translated in 129 different languages, and even today, first published in 1943 in the United States, and even today, The Little Prince is sold at the rate of over 1 million copies a year worldwide. And it was written by a P-38 pilot. Well, Saint-Exupéry was born in 1900, and during World War II, because that man was a man of honor and thought that to have the right to express his thoughts in writing, he first had to act. He despised those who wrote things and gave advices and say definitive things without doing something else, anything else, and writing. He wanted to act, so he used the network of relations he had, because he was a very famous writer in America, where he had emigrated in 1940, by the end of 1940, after the fall of France. He just pulled strings and called generals and friends and politicians, and was reinstated in 1943 as a reconnaissance pilot in his former squadron of the French Air Force, the 233 Recce Group, equipped with Lightnings like this one, P-38, the F5 version. The 31st of July 1944, at the age of 44, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry took off from an airfield in Corsica at sunrise. He was to take photographs of a region near the Alps and fly back to Corsica at lunchtime, and he never get back. And so this P-38 here today was a good idea, a good reminder. If you haven't read The Little Prince for a long time, maybe you should find a copy somewhere. You must have it in your library, I'm sure. And read it again. It's a children's book which can be read at any age. Oh, there in the sky, the Corsair. The Corsair was became famous in the media world because it was flown by one of those characters. Well, many important pilots flew the Corsair, but probably the most important of them all was Pappy Boyington. Pappy Boyington, you've read the stories, or maybe you've seen the Baba Black Ship series of television stories. Pappy Boyington was a real character. He was an officer with distaste for discipline and things military. And first of all, he was sent